Welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors, live from Mississippi. One more time, y'all. I have been having some fun on Facebook. I have been meddling with folks. Just been in one of them moods to just stir up people. You know what I mean? When they easy to get stirred up, here's a little bit to my amusement. But I have been hunting and hunting a good bit. I didn't hunt this morning because we had a good bit of rain roll through here. I don't know how much it rained because the same logic weather station, the rain gauge on it won't stay working. So I've good mind to email them and tell them I'm fixing to do them another video and they're going to be proud of me because I don't know if it's just this one or what, but I took it down the other day. It wouldn't register in rain, and I flipped that little flapper under the funnel, and it went to working. Worked perfect for a little while. Now it ain't doing it again. So I don't know if maybe birds is getting up there and meddling with it, or bugs is getting in it, or I don't know what's going on. All I can tell you is the thing ain't working, and I ain't happy about it. Not none whatsoever. Well, I hear that air conditioner up there finally went off. It's sad we running the air conditioner. See if I can get some chat pulleth uppeth here where I can talk at you. There it is. Is it gonna come on and yeah, there's some folks in there already. So I ain't done nothing this week, y'all, but hunt mostly. And I ain't done nothing but sit deer stand hunt. Now we had Christmas, obviously Christmas morning and Christmas afternoon. We went down to my mama's for lunch. Was down there. And then I left and went to the deer stand Wednesday evening. So I've hunted all Wednesday, most of Thursday, Friday, this afternoon. I didn't hunt this morning because it was storming. I did walk back here to the creek. I just wanted to see if the creek was about full. And we've gotten enough rain that it's going to fill it up. So we will probably be putting the canoe in the swamp sometime next week. There's finally enough water to go down there and ramble around. And I love to go down there, y'all, and just paddle around in that swamp. I like it. So I'm going to go check that out. We'll probably take the 30-30 and go down there and ramble around. I have got a sight on the 4570, but I have not taken the time to sight it in. I might do that tomorrow. I don't know. We're supposed to have a lot of bad weather tomorrow. So I told the guys today when I left the deer camp, I said, I don't know if I'm coming back tomorrow or not. Usually we don't really see each other to deer camp. I'll tell y'all this little quick story right quick too. Normally we pull up to the deer camp and there's just a checkout sheet. We got a big, huge map and it's got all the stands with a number on each one. You got a list over here. You sign your name, you pull your push pin out. You got one with your name or number on it. And you stick it where in the stand where you're gonna be hunting. That way somebody walk in and go, oh, there's somebody there, somebody there, somebody there. You got it just makes it easy. And that way they're all club stands. You can hunt any stand in there you want to. You can have a private stand. You just need to pin like I'm in this area right here, you know. And so anyway, we pull up and check in, and then when we get through hunting, we go up there and check out. So usually we're all in and out. We don't really see each other. You know, you might meet somebody in the driveway or something like that. So today I texted one of the guys that's kind of over the club, and I was like, hey, is this fellow so-and-so, you know, I don't know him, but I described him, and I said, he's supposed to be in here on a four-wheeler? Absolutely not. Okay, well, he just come by, beamed him in the face with a flashlight, you know. So what I done is I walked into a stand, hunted this afternoon where I put the thumbnail from. I head out. I get all the way to my truck, put my bag in there, put my rifle in there, and I'm like, oh, man, I left my little scent wick hanging up. There's one of them, you pull it out, and then you can roll it back up, and it's stick in your pocket. I really like it. And I always fill it up with deer urine that I harvest usually every year. So I walked all the way back down there. I grabbed my 17. I keep my 17 HMR in the truck. I grabbed it out. There was some rabbits down there. I said, I might shoot me one of them rabbits, you know. Well, I got back down there. The rabbits is gone. I grabbed my scent. I'm headed back out, and I hear this four-wheeler crank up. I'm like, I didn't know nobody else was in here. There ain't but one stand behind this gate. So who's back here, you know? There ain't no other vehicles up there. I mean, you can have a private stand back there. That ain't a problem, but they would have been a vehicle there. I would have known somebody was in there. So anyway, I cut my light off. I walk up to the end of this trail, and the trail I'm walking back up tees into another trail that my truck's parked on right up here. So I hear the four-wheeler coming up there, and I cut my light off. I'm like up pretty close. This guy comes by, and I hit him with that flashlight, and he looked at me. I mean, his eyes got big as saucers. He had a 5-gallon propane bottle. I'm talking about one of them big ones strapped on the front rack. I reckon he had him a heater in his stand down there, which he didn't need it today. But he wasn't supposed to be there, so I had to go up there and describe all that. We called the game warden. The game warden's going to go look for him tomorrow. So anyway, that's why I am just really, I have been here at the house about 10 minutes. And I think I hear a truck out there that's going to make Brody really happy. Yeah. Brody has been waiting on the UPS man to show up with his new Nerf gun. I had ordered him a Nerf gun for Christmas. It didn't show up. And I hear the dogs out there barking. I see Brody bolted through the house. He'll be out here with it in a minute. We'll have to open it. Anyway, I ordered him a Nerf gun, and today it was supposed to show up. It said out for delivery. And so I told him, your Nerf gun's coming today, you know. I showed him a picture of it. This is what I got you. It's late. It'll be here this week. Well, he was mad when I got home because his Nerf gun ain't showed up. So I've been here about 10 minutes. That's why I ain't cooking. I've got some deer meat in a cooler. I put all the deer meat up. There's 2 hocks over there. And there's a loin that come out of the neck of that deer that was under the lower part. Beautiful piece of meat. I cut it out separate. And it's in the cooler. And I really needed to cook it tonight. But I just come in and sat down. Ain't felt like cooking nothing. Deaver, I think his Nerf gun's out there. I ordered a can of chock full of nuts coffee, and it and the Nerf gun's out for delivery. I guarantee you, he's out there. He'll be out here with a box. Be like, open this shortly. I think Santa Claus is gonna pull through. We didn't tell him. I told him I ordered it. I didn't tell him Santa Claus had anything to do with this one. So anyway, thank all of y'all for joining in. I could go through here and start naming names, but I would miss somebody. Bring it here. Where's he at? Well, tell him to bring it here. We'll open it. Oh, Lord, y'all, we got a Nerf gun. Go get some clothes on that boy. Run around his drawers. Oh, Lord, we gotta do an unboxing on the live, and we can't say the what it is. It's a Nerf dart thrower. Roscoe, good Lord, he acts like he ain't seen me in a month of Sundays. Darlena, your husband got one of the hoodies. I need to order me another one. I'm supposed to make a new bumper sticker. I had somebody ask, could I have a bumper sticker made on there that says the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. I've got to make that happen. I hadn't been... Fiat said he had to get him a phone charger tracked down. This is on 54%, and I got my phone on the charger because I run it down in the deer stand. I had my book, and I got out there reading my book, y'all, or to read my book. I didn't have my glasses. Don't knock his drink over behind you. What we got here?
It's a Nerf gun.
You don't say that word out on the live. They might ban us. Say this is a Nerf a Nerf dart throwing toy. Something, I don't know.
It's a Nerf gun.
No, don't say that. You can't, they'll cut our live off. It's a toy. Just say we got a Nerf toy.
We got a Nerf
Nerf toy. YouTube, it's a toy. They get sideways about this stuff. I don't know what in the world this thing is, y'all. Look at this. Oh, Lord. What else is in there? Let's dump it out on the floor. Man. There's pieces to it. We're going to have to put it together. Oh, Lord.
There's bullets.
Look at him. Does these get put together? How does this work?
I wonder how this goes.
Oh, Lord. Y'all, this putting stuff together is fun, ain't it? This... I can't see nothing.
Look at the Nerfy. Look at Nerfy.
I'm gonna break something. I can't see good. I know that it's supposed to all go together though. Just like so. Oh, where it went. There's how it goes. It takes me a minute.
Guys.
God. So where does that go? I bet this goes right up here on the top like that. Yeah.
Where's this going?
I bet it goes right here. Oh yeah. And this is gonna go right there. What is it for? To hold bullets? Oh yeah.
Now we're talking.
Which way does that thing load? Oh, it goes this way. Belt's gotta go in.
How do you load this?
Well,
How do you put bullets
this
in?
has to go in.
It's a dino.
Whoa.
It's a dino. That thing is a beast.
I don't know how this thing works. There it goes. Alright, now we got a belt hanging out of it. Yeah, there you go. It's yours now. Look, you got to put all them darts in those tubes right here. You got to load that. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. I'm going to be the one going, ooh, here in a little while. Like that boy said on that show I used to watch, he said, I knew this was a bad idea. What? You going to put them in there? You going to stand there and hold them? Ooh, that's probably enough. Yeah. Can you cock that thing? All the way back. You didn't get it near about all. There it went.
Where's the trigger?
Back here. Yeah, now don't point that thing at me. It's liable to go off. All right. Take it on in there and shoot your mama with it. Carry your bullets with you. Don't dump them out now. All right, y'all, we got that remedied. Oh, Lord. Yeah, that foam projectile apparatus, I like that one there, Jeffrey. Oh, Lord, help. Y'all, we've been eating leftovers. Hey, I'll tell y'all what I polished off today before I went to the deer stand, and that was that pecan pie. Y'all don't say pecan pie, do you? Down here we say pecan. Anyway, whichever way you call it, the pie was good, and I finished it off today. Uh, she made something that I'd never had, and it was good, and it was called cornbread salad. How many of y'all have ate cornbread salad before? I was a mite surprised at the deliciousness of the cornbread salad. I will say I overcooked the deer meat and we cooked the brisket till it was falling slam apart. I did not do a real good job on either one of them. I'll just be flat honest with you. The deer meat was good. I just got the grease a little hot. I've got to get them knobs around here on the front where I can adjust them at the front. But anyway, Jeff called it. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Jeff Busby, I'll be honest with you, I was walking into the deer stand thinking, you know what, next week I'm going fishing. I'm going to take my boat to either the Tom Bigby or Oak Tibby Lake one, and I'm going to see if a crappie will bite. I hadn't worked on no beans, but now we have, I finished off the pan of deer meat. What else was it I've been eating on in there? I can't even remember now. I made me a sauce meat sandwich before I left out today because I done about cleaned up the leftovers. There was something else I was eating on. She cooked chicken nuggets last night. We didn't have no just heap of leftovers. We invited a bunch of folks over here and they eat all of it up, which is what I like, which we had food left over. It wasn't like, we run out of food, but I mean, I don't like to have leftovers for a week. When I invite a bunch of folks, I like to try to figure it all out to where there's more than everybody can eat, but, it ain't like we got no heap of stuff left, like it wasn't no good and they didn't eat it. Well, Larry, what kind of fishing are you planning on doing? I'm gonna tell you, old Mike up there has done got me interested in hand poling them catfishes, and that dip bait that he was using. I got me a can of it ordered, but you can get it on Amazon. But now they might slow about getting it. It's gonna be the end of January before it gets here. So if you planning on fishing this spring, you better order it now. Patsy, you made it. John Thomas said Brody finna get a whooping. Yeah, sent him in there with a Nerf dart throwing apparatus and told him to get his mama with it. Oh, Lord. Water whale's still all right. I really hadn't been down there here in the last few months and fooled with it. Jeff, when I cook deer meat, I take a bowl and I fill it about half full of milk. Just regular milk. You can use buttermilk. I don't notice a huge amount of difference in it, is why it don't really matter to me. Normally I use whole milk because that's what's in the refrigerator. I pour some milk in there and I usually crack an egg or two in it and stir it up, and I'll put my deer meat in that. And something about that milk will make that flour stick to it. So then I put it in that shaker, and the shaker has got salt, pepper, Tony Chachere's, and self-rising flour in it. You can use all-purpose flour. I normally just have self-rising because that's what we try to keep on hand. And I'll pull it out of the milk, throw it in the shaker, shake it up, and then into the hot grease. And I like to cook it at about 250. But what happened the other night, I put a whole big handful in there at 250. It dropped down and it wasn't cooking. It cooled it off too quick because it was cold out here. and I cranked it up, and when I got it back up, well, it just I turned it up too much, and it went up, and I was trying to get it back down, and I was trying to do too much at one time. So, Jimmy Sullivan, we're gonna have us a catfishing episode here for long, cause you'd like old Mike Reeves. Now he come down here and he caught some catfish. We're gonna get set up. I'll be honest with you. What I want to do is I want to go up there and put the camper at Pickinsville and take the War Eagle, and let's get up there and we'll put some lines out that we can run and then catfish off a bank. Hey, I think we'd have a tremendous time if several of us could get together up there and just make a day or two out of it. I think it'd be fine. Jerome Williams asked, did you have any sawtooth acorns this year on your trees? No, sir. Not a single acorn. We had some pin oak acorns in the swamp, but they was about as big as your thumb, maybe not quite that big. That was all acorns there was. There was no water oak acorns. The big swamp chestnuts didn't make. They wouldn't. And them big swamp chestnuts is what I like to hunt. If they dropping, you hunt them trees, a deer walk by a corn pile every time to get to them. And that's why people was getting on me this year about hunting over corn. Well, without it, you didn't have a prayer because there wasn't no natural food for them. I mean, there wasn't nothing in the swamp for them to eat this year. So, no sawtooth acorns. Jerome, no, I hadn't cut into that big saw blade yet. I've been holding out on it because I'm going to wait till I come up with some special knives I want to make. I want to make me a knife. And I really hadn't decided. I'll be honest with you. My knife making up until Christmas was humping orders out. I've took a week off to work and I've got orders still piling up. I thought, well, the Christmas run will be over with. Folks ain't going to, they're going to be done in a one. Shoot, y'all, I got people still calling wanting knives. So, which is a blessing, a really good thing. The Lord is taking care of me. He's blessing what I'm doing. So I have got some stuff. I got a guy's knives here that I've got to make some sheaths for. He sent me 4 knives and 2 sheaths, and he wants 4 sheaths made for them knives. And they're some beautiful old knives. And he sent me a Rio Link camera in trade for the 4 sheaths. I felt like I come out smelling like a rose. And he did want some plants and stuff I'm going to box up and send back with him. But I ordered a card from Amazon, a 30-day card. It was like $7 to get 30 days of a SIM card. And I'm going to put that in there and get it activated. And I had him open it out of the envelope. It came today. And I'm going to see about getting it. If that works, I'm probably going to order another one because I got another camera down there that's a stealth cam, and the card in it obviously ain't no good. It won't work. We've tried to connect that camera. We've had it for a year. My dad had it, and it never could get the stealth cam to work. But I need to put them up because the stand where I trapped the coons, I just put a camera down in there, and I haven't been back over there to check the card in it because I try to stay out of there. When I put a camera, I try to leave it alone for a while, let it run at least a week. And I need to check it, but it's a lot better when you see it in pictures. Like if I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking, okay, well, this stand's got deer coming to it. Well, you kind of know where you got your best option to go hunt. That is the benefit to it. It makes hunting easy. Is it ideal? No. My favorite way of hunting is going to the swamp. But when you put a lot of work into wanting to hunt and you're like me, I'm trying to get deer meat. I ain't just like, trying to see how good a hunter I am. This whole deal this year, I got aggravated last year because I killed 2 deer and one of them was about a half-grown yearling. And I didn't have enough deer meat. I didn't get to make deer jerky. I didn't get to do nothing. And I got a gallon bag full of deer jerky in there now. And probably got enough stuff in there to cut up and make some more tomorrow is probably what I'm going to do with that neck loin. I'm probably going to cut that thing up into strips and just make jerky out of it. I'll be better off because I'll eat a bunch of jerky up. I wanted to make sausage, so the next one I kill, I'm probably gonna grind a lot of it up. So anyway, it's about getting meat. If I'm gonna just enjoy hunting, it's like next week. I want to put the canoe in. I want to go paddle up down some of them sloughs in the creek, cause the water has to be up level with the banks, or within a foot of the banks, for you to be able to see out across there to paddle around and be able to hunt. And you can shoot from a canoe. You cannot shoot from a motorized boat. But a canoe that you paddling, you can absolutely fire a round off out of. You can shoot ducks out of it. I mean, it's just how this works. That is why the canoe is the way to go. And I haven't got to play in the canoe in a while. I mean, it has been a while since we've had enough water to put the canoe in. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And one day next week we're gonna do all that. But I've got to get in the knife shop and get started on some knife orders, because one thing, I'll be flat broke if I ain't careful. But I tell you what else, I am wanting to fire the forge up. I want to just make some stuff. So the orders that you guys have, that y'all that have placed orders, I'm setting on orders right now, may be a little slower, all of them getting out. Some of you may, if your name's up, you may get a call next week, or a text message or whatever it is. But I have several things I want to forge. Me and my buddy Don Lanier has been talking about this fro. I want to forge a fro out of a railroad spike. And the reason is for bushcrafters. They all seem to want to beat on the back of the knife, and it don't make no sense. So I want to forge a fro that you can just stick in your camp bag, and that's what you use to baton all your wood with. If you got to split up wood, you can cut your round stick down there. I just think it'd be a coolest little thing, and not to mention it would be ideal to have laying around up here when you're splitting kindling and such as that. And sometimes up here I split kindling, but I always do it with an axe, But now I will say this: when you're trying to split up kindling with an axe and you having to hold that piece of wood, and if you're not careful, it could be a little dangerous. So the fro actually is a lot safer for folks. So I'm gonna make some and see how they go. I'm trying to read through comments, see where I'm at on stuff. There's a cricket crawling, a blue brim right yonder, just crawling across the floor. It done got warm here, y'all. I promise you, it's 60-something degrees right now. Wonderful weather, really, for if you just want to enjoy being out, but it ain't conducive for my hunting. I like it cold when I'm hunting. Oh, what all am I missing? I'm trying to catch up on some. I'm sure I'm missing. Y'all, if something happens and I don't read your comment and it goes by, retype it if you really need to ask, because I can't scroll through and read everything. I just have to look down and catch what I can, you know what I mean? So if I missed it, type it again if you don't mind. I'll get to you. Merry Christmas to everybody. Oh, I've had a good Christmas. Now, I didn't get no load of stuff. I don't need a load of stuff. Didn't want a bunch of stuff. We bought Brody a bunch of junk, but he didn't, Santa Claus come to see him, got him a bunch of stuff, As far as me, I got a nice camouflage shirt. I got the Stanley cup. My daughter got me that Stanley coffee cup. I really like it. What else did I get? I got something else nice. I can't even remember now. Get a new razor every year to shave with, and I'll make it last till next Christmas. Y'all don't do stuff like that. what sight did I put on my 4570? Well, Mr. Billy Skipper came up here and brought me some sights. Where's the coffee? Oh, Billy Skipper came up here and brought me 2 sights, and I'm gonna give him one of them back. He had an old Marlin sight that is not the flip. What happened is the flip part of that sight is what broke. Well, the one he brought up here has got a solid iron sight. So we drove my thing out and was gonna put his. He also brought a peep sight that screws into the scope mount back there, and you can adjust it up, and it has wind. A really nice sight, but y'all, it's just a big old hole, and I mean, I can move. I can't shoot accurate with that. I know a lot of y'all really love and swear by them peep sights. If it had a really small hole, I might, but I like my old buckhorn style sights, so I'm gonna take that thing back off and put that buckhorn sight on there. Come here, Brody. Roscoe. I'll talk to you in a second. Did you shoot your mama with that Nerf thing?
Yeah.
No? Where are you going? You coming back? Or are you spending the night? Are you leaving my Nerf dart throwing apparatus here? He'll be back then. He ain't gonna leave it. Oh, now we got coffee. Roscoe, I don't know if you're aware of this, son, but your feet are wet. Please get down. Please get down. Hey, oh, Lord, wet feet. Wet feet, son. He's been out there running around the rain. Wet feet. Cold, wet feet. You should have went in with Mama. But anyway, I've got that buckhorn sight on the 4570, so we've got to get it zeroed in. I have not, but let me tell you this about it. So I knew that when we started zeroing it, first dash out of the bucket, we had to drive that sight way over to one side. So we took one of my good squares down there and put it in that dovetail, get down, and that thing is, the dovetail is cut in that barrel crooked. Yes, sir. I will do a video on this rifle before long. I hadn't done it yet. I really wanted this rifle. I really hyped it up. In my mind, I was like, man, they making a good quality. Y'all, from what I have had experience and seen thus far, it's not the quality they trying to swear it is. It's not. And I like Marlin. I really like Ruger. I mean, I really like Ruger rifles. They're not as good as Browning, but I like Ruger. I like my Ruger handguns, my single sixes, every one of them. Jam up fine weapons. That Marlin 1895 has not impressed me yet. I'm gonna send it back to him. I'm gonna sight it in, and I'm gonna hunt with it and tote it around till hunting season's over. And then it's going back to Marlin. I'm not gonna have it. If they can't do a better job and get me one that don't have a crooked sight and dovetail on it, then I don't want one. I'll buy something else with my money. So that's that. I'll do a video on it. I just hate to get on there and bash a company, especially a well-known company that everybody else is on there going, oh, look how wonderful, look how great. And I'm like, I'm not seeing great. I'm seeing okay. I'm seeing mediocre. I'm not seeing great. So anyway, maybe my expectations is too high. I don't know. Maybe I just got one of the bad ones, but it is what it is. I'm probably going to do a video and tell everybody the truth about it. I'm not going to just make up stuff and try to make it sound bad or make it sound good. This is what we got here. John Thomas, this dog is getting fat. Yes, sir. And I'll tell y'all this. He's had some bad gays the last day or two, but now he ain't the only one. He wouldn't by himself. John Thomas, I am Look, let me go put him in the house. He's got wet feet. He can't be all over me. He's wanting in. Come on, inside. Come on. Get inside. I usually would want him up in my lap, but them wet feet I just can't deal with. Not today. I got this paper, Brody's cardboard laying everywhere. I want me a 22. And I'm going to tell you what I want. I want me a 22 that's really, really quiet. Because I was sitting in that deer stand today, and they was two of the biggest, fattest rabbits in that green patch in front of me. And I'd have brought one of them out with me if I could have just said ka-plink, and that'd have been it. You know, wouldn't have been no loud pop. So we're gonna have to I'm gonna make that happen for long. My buddy over here that I've been talking to, he's got a little one that he said you can sit there in a deer stand and shoot squirrels, and he said if you miss one, he said they don't even notice it. Rossi R92 4570. Mark standards, I don't really have a problem with Henry. I really, really wanted a Henry Golden Boy 44 Magnum. And I wanted one, and one day they got one in the pawn shop back when they was like $700 and something. And I was like, yeah, hand that here. I was back there and I grabbed that thing up and I throwed it to my shoulder. And And the next thing is when you chamber it, it goes way out here. I mean, you feel like you going out, and I like the Marlin is right here. It ain't, I don't know. It hadn't had the feel for me. Do I think their quality is bad? No. It's just not I hadn't had one I liked. I've never owned one, but I have shot several. I've shot several of the 22s. And, I don't really have anything against them. When I got a lever action 22, I got the Browning. And the Browning is by far the better rifle. It's just, but now Browning is like up here, and then all these other guys are down here somewhere. That's just my mentality on them. And I love Remington, but I love old Remington. This new stuff that they got out now, I would not buy any new bolt action Remington. The bolts flop in them. Now, once you bolt it down, it's tight then. Not really an issue with the accuracy, I don't reckon. But I don't like these polymer stocks. I don't like any of that. So, if you go back and find me an old Model 700, I've got a little Model 7mm 08 wood stock guns about this long. I love it. It is put a lot of meat in the freezers. But I don't know. It's just when I got that Browning lever action, the action is real short, and I mean, you can pow, pow. I mean, you can just, so. But what I want now is a bolt action 22. I want a bolt action that I can put a can on the end of it and keep it quiet, and a plinker, something you can afford to shoot quietly. If I want to go to the deer stand and shoot a rabbit while I'm sitting there, and one that's small enough you can put in your pack, I think that's, my friend Don has put a curse on me. We sat and chit-chatted, and I went to looking, and I had to go by the pawn shop today to look at some, I had to go get the Henry lever action that Joey Martin won in the drawing we did, and get that. They've been busy at the holidays and hadn't got it shipped, and I had to go up there and get on to them and get that sent over there. I did really have to get on to them, but they didn't receive his email or didn't think they had, and they just didn't know what they was looking for. So we got it all straightened out. So while I was in there, I was looking at 22, and they did not have anything in stock that I was interested in. So anyway, and I want to get my flintlock out and go squirrel hunting with it, but I got to build a ramrod before I can even shoot it. Yeah. And I just ain't had time with all the knife orders to build a ramrod. But we did get the teepee finished and up this past week. Yeah. But I was going to waterproof it. Y'all, I have the material for the skirt. I ain't even got to sew it. I went in Lowe's and got 5 tubes of silicone to waterproof it. I've already got a gallon of mineral spirits. And I said, well, where's the drop cloths? And they got 4 by 15. I was like, give me 2 of them. Because it's about 30 foot around it. And for the door, I can open 2 foot of it. Or either, I may leave it where I can pull it together over behind the door, help block air out there. We'll have to see. But I've got all the stuff to finish that. But now it has rained on it, and the teepee is soaking wet down there. But now, amazingly, it wouldn't like soaking wet under there. I know there's some water ran under it, but it blocked a lot of water, actually. I was surprised. It is damp in there. And obviously, the hole in the center, it is damp right over the fire where it was at. It's washed out, but we get it waterproofed, it'll be all right. I don't know that I want to stay in it in no monsoon rain, not where it's at, because it's kind of a slope down to it. Carly Lawrence asks, how many deer have I shot? I've got 3 for the year. 3 for the year. What is a good scope for a 25-06? It's hard to say. I like the Trigicon scopes. I like Loophole. They say Vortex is a jam-up scope. They got a good warranty. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. When you go to buy a scope, whatever you spend on the rifle, make sure you spend about another $200 or $300 more for the scope. Not a $200 or $300 scope. I'm talking about if you spend $1,000 on the rifle, you want a $1,300 scope. You see what I'm saying? Because the rifle is only as good as your optics that you can see out of. Now you can see open sights out here in the middle of the day, but now I'm sitting there with binoculars trying to see, is that a bush or a deer? Well, if I figure out that's a deer, I see his horns moving, and I get my rifle up, and I can't see nothing out of it. Well, what good is it? And 9 times out of 10, we deer hunting, we shooting in low light. So think this through. Instead of having 10 guns, have 1 good one that you can depend on. Because that one moment that deer's standing out there and it's barely light enough that you can just see a body moving and you look through that scope. And here's another secret that a lot of people don't understand. This is optics in general, even cameras. If you zoom in, you letting less light in there, you can see less. In low light, you got to zoom all the way out. So if you sitting there and this doesn't got about dark, dial that scope all the way back down, and I promise you can see more than if you try to zoom that in where you can look. And most of you probably know this, but if you didn't, try it next time you're in the woods. It might help you out tremendously. Because I've had a lot of people tell me, say, man, I got one of them good scopes, and I can't see out of it in the dark. It don't let no light. You can't. Well, you dial it back, and that, lets more light in, and you can see later. That's how this works. My dad has actually pulled every scope with a 1-inch tube off, and they all in a shoebox, and all of his has got 30mm tubes on the scopes. That way he can see out of them. So, and I have got a set of Bushnell binoculars that are fantabulous. I don't know about their scopes. I've never owned one. I have had Burris scopes. I think that's a Burris. It's on my 22 Ruger, my 1022. And I like it. I need to get my 1022 out and shoot it some. I hadn't shot that one in quite a while. But I bought cleaning stuff for all my rifles, and I have yet to clean any of them. So I've got several 22s that I want to really, really brush the barrel out. I did shoot that 1022 though. I shot it right out here to target, and it wasn't grouping real good. That's why I need to clean the barrels really, really good on all of them. Kimber. My dad had a Kimber 45 handgun that was fine. Oh, I think Vortex is making some good scopes. I don't personally own one. My dad has a couple, and he seems to like them. Now he's got one that he did tell me that he said when I move it one click, he said it jumps over here. He said I move it over here and it jumps over there. He said, but if I get it dialed in, he said it'll stay there. He said it don't move, but he said he said if it's supposed to move up a quarter inch at 100 yards, he said it's liable to move an inch or two. So I don't know. He was threatening putting it in the box and sending it back to him. And from my understanding, Vortex will send you a brand new one if you do that. So I've got several Nikons. Nikon has good optics. Nikon don't handle recoil as well as some of the others. As far as being able to see, I've got a Nikon on my little 17 HMR, and it is a fine little scope. I think I have a Nikon M223 on my AR-15, and I had a Nikon, and I think there is a Nikon Pro Staff on my 270 bolt action, my stainless 270. I got a Trijicon on the 270 short mag that I'm shooting. And that's what I've been toting hunting with, and I like it because I can light that reticle up if I want to. But that Vortex scope is just clear. I can see. I can zoom it in at 200 yards. I mean, I can count his eyelashes. So and I've got an old Redfield scope, David Rush, and it's over there in a shoebox. It's got one of them 1-inch tubes. It was on a 7mm mag that we traded for. My dad pulled it off. We used it for a while, but he wound up buying a better scope and put on whatever he was shooting. And it's a good scope. Now, my 7mm 08 has got a Simmons 44 mag on it. Has been one of the best scopes that we've ever owned. But now it's not much for light, it's not much for long range, but up to 200 yards I can hunt with it, and it for years I ain't had to adjust it. When I get that little rifle out and fire a round off, they go right where they're supposed to go every time. So when they'll do that, they were good. But we've got one that's got the red ring, around it. Yeah, Mudcat. Daddy has got all 30mm tubes on all of his stuff. But I like guns. I mean, and I think most of us do. I like flintlocks. I'm planning on next year I will have me a flintlock I can depend on. And this year I didn't. When I start having trouble with something, I get frustrated with it, and I had too much other stuff going on. I didn't have time to really worry with it. I'm going to do my dead level best, and it could happen between now and the end of deer season. I could go get it out because we'll have a primitive weapon season here at the end. Rifle season will close down, and you can hunt archery and I think primitive weapon for about 2 weeks. So it's very possible that I may get some lead balls cast, and we may finish the year out with it'll be cap lock. Now, like I said, I've got to get a ramrod made for the flintlock 36 so we can squirrel hunt with it. And it is a shooter. I can shoot squirrels with it, but with everything going on, I hadn't had time to build me a ramrod. And I was gonna build one day, and the stick I had wasn't ideal, so I was gonna build them out of privet. So I cut me some plum bush shoots that were real long out of that plum bush down there, and I'm thinking about baking it out of plum tree. So I laid them up. They've been drying, and I'm letting them dry with the bark on them so that they don't split. And then I'm going to peel them, and they'll be harder to peel, but they won't have splits in them. I found out when I was peeling that privet and then bundling it up, it would split down the sides everywhere. So the 25-06, my dad has a 25-06, and he absolutely loves it. He's killed several deer with it. It is a tack driver, and I'm not sure what brand it actually is, but now he loves it. And it has never failed to kill a deer. But now here's the thing. You hear a lot of trash talking about like 6.5 Creedmoor and hearing about deer runoff. Well, here's the story behind all that. I'm not much for gun crazes. Like when everybody jumps up and says, "Oh, this is a new caliber to have," and everybody goes and trades their old gun in. I gotta have that one because that's the going thing. I don't buy into all that. If I genuinely like something, I want it, but I don't care what other people are hunting with. But I will say this in its defense. And that's what happened with the 6.5 Creedmoor, because it was really the caliber that was just rebranded. I think, what is it, the 260 or something like that. But anyway, it will kill a deer. There is no question about it. The biggest problem is a lot of people, they get one bore sighted and get where they can hit a 5-gallon bucket at 100 yards, and they go hunting. And when they see a deer, they just try to get it in the middle of the body, and boom, and they don't know where they hit. And if I don't feel like at 100 yards I can hit a baseball, really, I want to be able to hit the bottom of that Coke can. If you laid it up like that right there, I want to be able to hit the bottom of that at 100 yards. And if I can't do that, I'm not toting it. Not deer hunting. But there's so many people out there that will. And that's... Yeah, I thought Uncle Sasquatch, it was just a 260 Remington, which is a plenty enough to kill a whitetail. I mean, and my thinking, when I'm deer hunting, I'm meat hunting. Right now, I'm not just shooting the first deer I see because it's rut, bucks are moving. Like anybody else, I'm going to hold out for a big buck if I can, because I've killed 3 deer. Now, if I had not killed a deer, I'm shooting the first thing comes out, don't care, you know. Killing the biggest buck ain't really my thing. I mean, I want to shoot the biggest one that's out there, but, you know, I mean, I ain't there for the big buck. So right now, as I'm going hunting, I got 3 deer in freezers. I'm holding out, you know, I'm just going to shoot a buck. I need 2 more deer. I want 2 more deer for the year. I'll take 3 if I can get them. But I don't want them right now. Like, I wouldn't dare shoot one today. So, if toward the end of season, the rut's kind of tapering off, we may take... I would love to shoot one with the 44 Super Black Hawk. So, if I get a stand that, hey, they coming in close, and I can do that, I would like to do that as well. But I'm meat hunting. And even if I'm right now and there's a big buck comes out, I'm after the meat more than I am the horns. So every time I'm going for a neck shot. Every time. If I can get him turned to where I can see this neck, I'm dead center of the neck, about this far up in front of the front shoulder. And if I can hit him there, he'll be laying right there. And here's what I like about a neck shot. If that deer runs off, I missed him. There's no, always a blood trail. If I hit that deer, he's going to flop just about it right there. especially with these AccuBond bullets. Y'all, that one that I skint the other day, that neck, in fact, I lost about this much of the tenderloins because I actually hit a little bit further back than I thought. What it was is he was quartered towards me a little more than I thought he was. So when I shot into the neck, and I hit about where I was aiming, but he was turned a little bit more of an angle. I thought he was completely broadside looking at me, but he was quartered towards me a little bit. But now he didn't take a step. I have shot 3 deer this year, and never one of them has taken a step. And that's the way I like it. If it's too far, if he's 250 yards and I'm taking a chance on something and he runs, hey, I missed him. And he lives. I don't have a crippled up deer out here running around. So that's my thinking. Is that what everybody should do? I ain't saying that, but that's my reason for doing it. Backwoods Homestead, I don't really agree with anybody shooting a full metal jacket out of anything. I know one time, I ain't gonna say who, but I know a fella that had a brand new AR-15, and man, he had a clip loaded down with full metal jackets. And he thought he was in the army, and he seen a deer, and I mean, he started bow, 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 bow. And I believe he hit it every time, because we found some hair, but they would not one drop of blood nowhere. And the deer run slam off, and I mean, we was in a cutover that we followed that deer's tracks, we could see where he went. This has been several years back, and we still ain't found no deer. I mean, they wasn't no blood nowhere, so, a full metal jacket out of anything is not really a good idea. Not for hunting. Unless you got a 17 HMR and you thinking about squirrel hunting with it, because them little plastic tip bullets in that 17 HMR blow a squirrel all to pieces. Ask me how I know. I done it. I put the wrong clip in's what I did. I usually, when I take that 17, I take a plastic tip clip, and then I have a clip full of full metal jackets to shoot squirrels with. And yeah, I mixed them up. Didn't have to tenderize him, though. Mudcat, I wouldn't bet against you, nothing in the world. He said he'd bet $100 against a wooden nickel that a 22 caliber has killed more deer than either one. And I'd wholeheartedly agree with you. DH, that is the very reason I'm reading his comment right here. He said 22 ammo in a long gun is quieter, or he said Aguila super or something caliber long gun is quieter than a pellet gun. Fires from the primer, has no powder in the case, will kill a squirrel out to about 30 feet and probably a rabbit, but it won't cycle an autoloader. This is the precise reason that I want a bolt action 22 rifle. For such as that kind of stuff. Larry, you better take it easy with that chocolate pie. You'll be like me. Your britches will be snug. Y'all, I had to go for a walk today. It quit raining, and I had to get out of the house. I done sit in the house watching it rain all morning. It rained about 10 o'clock. 10:30, something like that, and I struck out walking. I got I had my 17, and I went walking. It poured down rain on me, come another shower, but I had to get out of the house and do some walking around. Anyway, yeah, I'm wanting me a bolt action little 22 that I can I would like to put a can on it where I could plink at rabbits and squirrels while I'm in the woods deer hunting. And it'd be a small enough gun that I could put in the side of my bag and not be taking up a whole lot of room. Uh, Ideally, if you're in that swamp, put it in there in that canoe with you, and you can get them squirrels along the way, and you ain't spooking that old big buckets down there bedded up in that log pile. And when you paddle around that point that he's laying on and he stands up, you ain't startled him, you know. Because if you start shooting those shotgun off at the ducks and the squirrels and whatnot, that old deer, he knows you're coming. I don't know how he knows, but he knows you're coming. Uncle Sasquatch, you go put that fancy chicken to bed. Well, Mudcat, the 22 cricket that I am looking at is the carbon fiber. Pull it up on the internet, pull up the little 22 cricket. Carbon fiber has an extendable, collapsible rear stop. Light little thing, and it's got ring. You can put a scope on it. Single shot, stick your bullet in there, bolt it down, shoot it. You can shoot anything in it. I think that is what I'm interested in, and they like under $300. So, Jared Hayes said your friend is lucky that deer didn't whoop him. Yeah, yeah. We walked around that cutover that night, shining a light, looking for blood specks, and we was just making circles. One old boy said, "We're just making circles." Deaver, I'm going to read his comment. He said, I did not do it, but I have a friend that jumped out of a tree stand on a deer's back and cut its throat with a bowie knife. I said, what'd you do that for? He said, I wasn't going to waste a bullet. Well, let me tell y'all a true story. Now, I know, and I'm going to tell you now, it's far-fetched. Some of you ain't going to believe it. I don't care if you don't. I'm going to tell it anyway. This has been back many years ago. I was in a stand hunting, and my cousin that was crippled, Michael Gray, was with me. Well, he lived right there. He wasn't with me hunting. I was hunting kind of behind his place. And I had a stand down there, and man, that deer, they was deer come from everywhere down there. You put out some corn, and you'd have 5 or 6 down there. So I had my bow, and I was shot me a doe. Well, I shot one. Well, it run off, obviously, and so we had to track it. So I called him. He said, well, I got one of my buddies that's been helping me work on the car up here. We're going to come down there. So they come down there, and he's kind of crippled, can't get around good. Well, by the time they get down there, I find this deer way back there. Found the blood trail, and I had found it. I said, well, so the other guy, he goes and helps me drag it out. We're dragging this deer, and we drag this deer all the way up to the stand of where I shoot at. We get there, and there's like 3 more deer standing there. And that boy said, I want to shoot one. I said, well, here. And I handed him my bow. He didn't have a release. He didn't have nothing. He grabbed my bow, pulled it back like that, and just said, thonk. He didn't use the sights. He didn't know nothing about no sights, no nothing. And I'm like, I had no idea he was going to hit the deer, but he did. He hit the deer. Well, the deer starts hopping around. And I'm like, oh, Lord. You know, we got to finish this deer off. All he's done is crippled it, you know. I honest to God, I thought he was going to miss. I really did. But he didn't. So I take off running. And I run this deer down. Now, this has been, it's been close to 20 years ago. I couldn't run this deer down now, I don't think. Which it's crippled now, okay. It's a crippled deer. We're not talking about no in good health deer. I finally get caught up with it, and it's kind of loping like, you know, and there's blood coming out of it, arrows sticking out of it, and I just kicked its back feet out from under it and took it down, and I had to take it down, about like Deaver's talking about, and I did that. I wouldn't have done it if it had horns. But JW, I am out of Philadelphia, Mississippi. And they have got some stuff in there, but they didn't have exactly what I wanted. And they gonna get in one of them little carbon fiber crickets, and I'm gonna look at it. I don't think they're the most accurate thing that they are, but they do have a threaded barrel, which is important for me in this deal. And they under $300, not a bank breaker, just easy to, my buddy that's got one, he's got a Savage Rascal, and he said it's accurate. So I don't know. This one that I'm looking at has got a carbon fiber barrel now, and what I'm wanting to do is it's gonna be my survival gun basically, and be like hey, we bushcrafting in the swamp, and it's light enough I can pack it down in a collapsible stock and pack it in a bag or in something in the canoe while we canoeing and fishing. And I really would like a 22 that I could put a can on. Mine, I have an automatic Smith and Wesson, but it don't have a rounded barrel, and it's got a fixed sight, and it's got a rail made on the top of it. It's just not conducive to thread or do anything like that with. So, I tell you though, the best shooting 22, and I'm gonna get it out one day. We're gonna do a video. I've got my dad's old single 6 with a 6-inch barrel, and you talking about a shooter? It's a Ruger. I sat here, and at 50 yards, I had that plate hanging up down there, and it is a 4-inch wide by about, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches long, hanging on them chains down there, and I could hit that plate every time. 50 yards with that pistol. And for a handgun, that's good for a gun. Now, there's times I do all right shooting. I need to get that 30-30 out, and I need to see if I can tighten the groups up on it. I think I can. I just hadn't shot that thing in a long time. Steven, send me a picture of it. Got him a good buck off the front porch. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with shooting one like that now. You ain't got to put a whole lot of work into that. Just get out there and go cleaning him. With Jared H, here it's basically about $500. You got to, I think it's a $200 permit you got to buy and apply for and let that come in. And then I think what I looked at today, the cans that they've got for a 22 is about $300 or $400, depending on what you want. And the only reason I want one, well, they have a lot of practical uses. If you can quieten a rifle down, well, those of us that struggle to cohere to hearing protection guideline, the safety police like to fuss at me because I don't wear hearing protection all the time. It would solve that for a lot of us old boys. But, I could see their reasoning for trying to regulate it. There's always somebody trying to do the wrong thing, but my honest to God thinking is if a person's got malice on their mind, you ain't on chain. You're not gonna stop them. If they got to use a rock to go do meanness with, that's what they'll use. So, you can make it where it's easier to catch them, or I don't know, but I don't think you're gonna stop anybody from doing meanness. Older Remingtons. I'll be honest with you, I thought about one of them old single shot bolt actions and sawing the barrel off some, and I could thread that joker myself. I don't know if that's legal or not. As long as you buy the permit for the can and all, because a lot of them was like really quiet anyway, but I want it quiet enough that I can, like while I'm deer hunting, I can shoot a squirrel or a rabbit and bring home to cook for supper. I don't have no like ill intent. I ain't wanting a night hunt, in other words. And I'm sure it's what a lot of folks is wanting to do with them. But if they want a night hunt, you're not gonna stop them. They're gonna do it anyway. You ain't come up with a question that I think you can't answer. Hey, surely it ain't hard to come up with something I can't answer. I might come up with an answer. It might not be right, but I'll sell it like I think it is. Oh Lord. We'll solve world problems here shortly. I'm sure somebody's got some kind of conundrum that we need to solve. World peace or something other. I've been on there meddling with them folks about them chemtrails, getting them worked up. I could care less if chemtrails are real or not. It don't matter to me. I like to stir up somebody every now and then, get them because folks that's serious about something, man, they get fighting mad. 22 shorts, but Fitz, let me tell you this. I asked this question today because I said, hey, I need one I can shoot shorts in. And the old boy said, why? I said, well, I want to be subsonic. He said, we got subsonic ammo that's in the regular length that all the guns will shoot that's cheaper. He said, it's like $6 a box. Them shorts is like $17 a box. I said, okay. Makes sense for me. So the shorts are out. But now I've got a 22 revolver. It'll shoot anything you stick in there, but it's got a sight on the end of the barrel and it ain't threaded and you can't quieten it down none. Brenda Joe, good night. We'll see you next time. Yeah, Tommy will come dragging info along there, Larry. We ain't had no Doug tonight. I don't know. I hate we cut him off so quick. We could have had some fun out of that fella if we'd have thought about it before I blocked him. I closed his yapper for him. Scared to shoot. I'd chamber one in it and pull a trigger. That's just me though. I have got a Mossberg and it's a 16 gauge and I don't have the magazine for it. I like to call it a clip because it clips in there. You can't read it. But anyway, I ain't got a magazine for it, but I did put a shell in the barrel and bolted it down and it wouldn't fire. And I hadn't messed with it. No, English Joe's, the deer tongue is still in the deer's head. It's laying down there in a bucket. I'm going to do a video on skinning the head out, and I just it ain't fit to eat. I mean, I done let it ruin. But I've had several people ask me how's the best way to get the hair off of the skull to do a European mount. So I was going to film skinning the head out. I'm assuming I can get away with it on YouTube. I don't know. So I was going to just film doing a European mount. After I do the mount, I may wind up cutting the horns off. I don't really have a use for a bunch of deer heads hanging around. I mean, that one ain't no real trophy. But I thought it would make a video for people that do have a real nice one to kind of go by on how to do it, because the first time or two I tried to do it, I made a mess out of trying to skin it. And I watched an old boy do it for one at the taxidermist down there when I had a deer head that they was going to cape out and mount. And I watched, I didn't want to mess with it, so I watched him do it and seen how it was done. And it's skinning it is a whole lot fast. I have put them in 8 beds. I have put them in ponds with catfish. I've tied them on a rope, thrown them in the pond. I've tried several of things. Skinning it and then boiling it is by far the most practical, easiest way to do it. The fastest way, the best result. There Tommy is. I believe old Larry Alexander whistled him in. He said, yeah. We skinning and boiling Doug's head. We got Doug's head down there in a sink. We're gonna skin Doug's head out and do a European mount on old Doug. Yeah, Doug's tongue was better. I could tell. I could tell last Saturday his tongue wasn't worth having. Hey, y'all discuss that for a minute. I'm gonna go fill his coffee cup up. I'll be right back. Don't y'all go nowhere. I promise I'll be right back. I got a wrong tea. I went ahead and swapped cups on y'all. Y'all see, my daughter bought me this cup. Oh, and I had some people after I bought that Yeti thermos. I had some folks. Oh, they got fighting mad at me. Oh, you idiot! Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong. I've had a Stanley thermos and I ain't had no problems. I've had it for years. You got, and I like my Stanley thermoses. I have no problem with them. But now I have found that them old ones, like I bought vintage ones, will not keep my coffee warm long. That new Yeti will. But I like this cup. This cup will keep it warm. So I don't have a problem with Stanley. The reason I bought the Yeti, I don't have a problem with Stanley. The reason I bought the Yeti is it holds a whole lot more. It is way bigger. I mean, you can put 12 cups of coffee in there without a problem. Yeah, and I probably don't need that much coffee, but I like to have it in case I do want it. And you had to fiddle with this lid to get it lined up for whichever hand you are using. I'm left-handed, so I like to be able to drink out of it out of the left hand, but now when I'm driving, I have to swap it around so I can drive with my left hand and drink with my right so I can set it over there by the cup holder. So, I mean, you see old left-handed boys' problem, man. We have to fight everything. Somebody asked me today when they seen that picture of my rifle laid up there and, the bolt sticking off on the left side, they said, "Are you a southpaw?" Guilty. I am. I am. But yeah, that is my Christmas cup. My daughter got me this. She ordered it for me, and I really do like it. Martin Meltzer is in the house. Oh, Tommy don't know. I thought we told Tommy last week who Doug was. Tommy Doug was the fellow that come in here last week, last Friday night, a mouthing off. He was a popping off quite a bit, and we shut his mouth for him. So when I shot this 7-point the other day, Saturday morning, matter of fact, I named the deer Doug. Yeah, Jeff, daughters are absolutely the best. I'll have to say the good Lord up above sent me an angel when he sent me my daughter. She has been you couldn't ask for a better young'un. So Yeah, Tommy, it was a fella by the name of Doug, so we named that deer Doug. And we done cook Doug and eat Doug. And we're gonna skin his head and boil it and put it on a stick. Oh, well, I'll learn them from coming in him mouthing off. Well, well, well. Uncle Sasquatch, you got to do Jake like I do Roscoe. He got them feet wet out there running around this wet grass, and I put him in there in the house and shut the door. He went and got in the bed. He probably soiled up. He really don't like me going off a hunting without him, but I can't deer hunt with him. He'll run them off every time. So, anyway. Cedar Creek, Lake, Alabama, Appalachian Explorers. Good to see you. So. Anyway, y'all, what we need to do the upcoming week? We have got videos. I have got to waterproof the teepee, but it's gonna have to quit raining before we get that done. I'm trying to send all this rain over y'all's way, independent thinker. I think y'all need it, so we through with it. We send it over your way. You'll get it tonight, tomorrow. Y'all enjoy. It's our gift to y'all for Christmas. But now the bad thing about it is in the morning I want to get up and go deer hunting, and we got like a tour con of 5. Them poor folks over in Texas, and some of y'all may be over there where all this happened. We watched the weather, and man, they was tornadoes left and right last night. So I'm not jealous of you, not one bit. In fact, I think there was tornadoes Christmas Eve over there. So that I know some folks in Texas have had it rough. Backwoods Homestead, this thing right here will hold at least 2 cups of coffee. It holds a lot. The good thing is it will keep it warm if you keep that lid shut. I can't keep it shut. It stays wide open for me. But I'll try to hurry up and drink it. L square. Yeah. Tommy, I have got all the stuff bought to waterproof it. I didn't get it. It would have had to have got done Christmas Eve day, and I had too much other stuff going on that day to get down there and do it. So anyway, let it rain, let it rain. We'll catch it up at some point here in the next week or so. It'll have to dry out down there. Once it gets dry, we'll get it waterproofed. My deal, I don't mind hunting in the rain. My truck was out of gas this morning. I had to go by somewhere and fill it up. And there's a store between here and the deer camp. But they charge about 20 more cents a gallon for gas up there because it's way out in the county. And I just, I had a check that I needed to take to town anyway. I had to go by and square up that business at the pawn shop, and I needed to go get a couple of sacks of chicken feed. So I stayed here, waited the rain out, and then went and did all of that, and then went to the deer camp, filled up. And I loaded the Polaris Ranger up on the trailer, and that's what I'm hauling around right now instead of the Honda, because if it's going to rain on it, the Honda I was having to unload every day when I come in and park it on it. Well, then if I get up before daylight, I got to go out there and load that thing and strap it all down. And I was like, I'll put the Polaris on there, because if I don't shoot nothing, I ain't going to unload it no way. It's just riding. So I filled it up with gas at the gas pump and the truck, and it's sitting out there. So I'm gonna see about honestly fixing the Polaris Ranger, everything on it. I'm threatening whenever I tear it down, it'll be after hunting season's over, but I am threatening pulling the front differential out and tearing it apart. It needs a new shaft that comes out that front yoke goes on. I think would help a lot of the wearing out of that front differential, that yoke that goes that prop shaft. So Appalachian Explorers asked, did the smoked deer meat turn out good? I have not touched it. It is actually still smoking. I have got to go down there in a little bit when we get done here and put wood in that heater. It'll smoke for 3 or 4 days. It's just meat preservation. So actually, I probably won't even eat it right now. It'll be a little while before I taste of it. I put the other 2 in the salt box. I'm going to try to pull them out within 10 days. The only problem is I need to keep an eye on them because with it hot like it is right now, they may spoil down there, honestly, y'all. It needed to be cold, and I don't know. The ones I got in the salt box, I'm worried about. Them hanging up smoking will be fine. That is why I went ahead and smoked them and didn't just throw the other ones in the salt box with them. So we'll see. We'll see how that's going. Yeah, Larry, I hope you find your pocket knife. I would take one of them recliners that you've been stretched out in and see if it didn't ease out of that pocket and drop down in that crack in that recliner. And they have, if you pull that foot thing out and it reared way on back, it'll be on the floor under it. So that'd be the first place I'd look. And whatever chair you've been sitting in, pull them couch cushions out and slide your hand back down in there where all that change is, and you might find it there. Oh, he already done all that. I can't help you no more. That's my go-tos. If it ain't there, then I look on top of the washing machine. Wife may have found it in the breeches pocket, laid it on top there. That is why these breeches I got on. Now somebody gave me these pants. When I had an old buddy I worked with landscaping. He said Army pants. But I got this pair of Army pants given to me, and I really like them. They comfortable, but the only thing I don't like about them is these old loose pockets. And if I rear back in that recliner and watch old Justin Wilson cook and tell tales, it'll fall out every time. I was right back last night listening to him talk. He had me plumb tickled. He was talking about these old boys that they got together and they was working a garden. They decided to buy them a mule. And they never had no mules, so they said they pooled their money together and they bought them a mule. And said they got the mule home where they could use it and ply in their gardens and whatnot. And said they decided, one of them said, man, we're going to have to build us a stable to put this mule in. Said he's scared to death of that rain out there. Said he danced around and brayed all night. It was a storming and a raining. So they got together. He said, I got some old scrap 2x4s laying around. He said, and I got some other ones. Said, well, I got some metal back here to put on the roof. Said, we'll build us a stable for him. So they got out there and used what lumber they had laying around. And they built a stable, and they went up there to lead that mule in there. And doggone it was about this much too short. Old mule's ears is hitting the top. Said, oh, he threw the fit, backed up, hollered and carried on. Said they was trying to drag him in there. Said mule wasn't going in the stable. And fella said, he said, I got a good sharp straight razor. Said, we'll trim that mule's ears. What we'll do. Said he needs them ears a foot tall anyway. He said we need to trim them ears. So they got together. He said he went and got a sack of flour. He said I'll pack that on there around there. And so he got some axle grease. He said between the two, he said we'll stop it bleeding. He said we're gonna trim that mule's ears. So they got out there and said one of them said they had that mule tied to a tree, pulled back. Said one of them had a biting on his ears and pulled it out, got it pulled tight where he could get it. He was fixing to cut it. Said the other old boy come walking up there and said, whoa, what y'all doing? They said, man, we fixing to trim this mule's ears. Said he won't go in the stable. His ears is hidden. Mule won't go there. So we're going to trim mule's ears. He said, look. He said, don't do that. He said, get over here and dig under the door. Dig you a hole. He said, you won't have to trim that mule's ears. Now, this old boy that told him, he'd done been to Mississippi State up here. Had an education, been there 4 years. Been to agricultural school. He's smart as a whip. He walked off. Another one said, boy, said his daddy wasted that money. He said, what you mean? He said, he been 4 years up at school, thinks he's smart. He said, he said, you ain't never had to dig no hole to trim no mule's ears. He said, he don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, I laughed and laughed at that. Oh, Justin Wilson had me plumb tickled. Yeah, David, it gets salty. It does. But the problem is it takes more than 2 days of salting it to get the moisture dried out to preserve it. So the old timers that I have talked to around here that can tell me what little they remember, because most of the folks that's 80, 90 years old were kids when they got refrigeration. So they don't really remember exactly what mom and daddy did. They remember eating some of the meat. They remember having the smokehouse. They remember mama and daddy keeping a fire going, but nobody can really tell you exactly how they did it here. I will say this. Winters were a little colder, a little more cold weather then, because, I mean, every year we're getting warmer. The world is warming up. We've been on a warming cycle since probably the flood. Therefore, Daddy told me that when he remembers eating hams that they cured when they'd kill a pig, that it was salty. He said, Mama, he said it was always salty, all that we ever cooked. So it was that way then. Was there other ways of doing it? It's possible, but I haven't talked to anybody that can really tell me in detail for a fact. And here's the next thing. You say, oh, well, watch this guy's video up here. I've watched McGee's homestead up there. I've watched him several years back when I first started building this. But you got to take into consideration that even in Tennessee, where they are, and me in central Mississippi, the humidity is drastically different. You look out here behind me right now, and that fog is just thick out there. All of that stuff play a huge factor in trying to get moisture out of a piece of meat. So that's my biggest battle. If it was dry, cold air, man, I could hang that thing up under the shed without salting anything, and it would dry. Really, what I need to do, if I was going to do this, probably the best way, is if I had a refrigerator with the racks out, and I could just lay it in that refrigerator, and just lay it in there and let it dry in that refrigerator, would probably be the best way. But I'm trying to mimic an off-grid, like, hey, I'm trying to learn how to do something so if we ever get where we ain't got power, I can preserve my meat that I have killed. So that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. But yeah, the meat out there in that smokehouse is gonna be salty. That was in there about 3 weeks because that was when I had time to get to it. This that I've got in there has been in there 2 or 3 days. I'll go check on it here in a little while when I get off of here. I've got a hide I'm tanning down there, and I put the tanning solution on it last night. I started stretching it today. It's not gonna dry today. That's why I went on hunting. I ain't gonna work. I may be here and be able to work it tomorrow. It is under the shed, so we'll have to see. I don't know what kind of shape it's in. But when I get off of here, I got to go check on all that. So, sugar and salt. I hadn't tried the sugar. It probably would be a good thing to try, and I may do that because we buy sugar by the big sack here. I got plenty of sugar. I just hadn't tried it. But it's going to be a Washburn. It's going to be a lot colder in Newfoundland, and the method is going to be drastically different. Philip Greer, thank you. Yeah, Keith, and that is what I have been told. He said his mom used to soak pork in hot water for a while before she cooked it. In fact, somebody told me, said they boil it in with some potatoes, and the potatoes will suck the salt out. In other words, the potato will absorb the salt. So those are all things to do. Anchor, I drank coffee black as midnight, and I drank it strong enough you can stand a nail up in it and it'll just stand up in there. But I drank it black. Now, I'll tell you this, if I decide I'm going to put creamer in it, occasionally I'll put a little hazelnut creamer, I'll put sugar in it then. But most of my coffee drinking is just black coffee. I don't know if they kept the salt box inside the smokehouse, but I'll tell you why I put mine in the smokehouse. One, to keep it dry and it's out of my way. But when I got meat in there and I can keep a fire going, it'll help keep the flies run off from getting in there. So that is my biggest thing. Yeah, and Washburn, I appreciate it. And that has been my conundrum. I've got books on the subject, but the problem I have found is doing the methods in the books. I had two front shoulders out there 2 years ago. I tried to do not as much salt, and it did like it is right now. All of a sudden, we had this warm spell while they was in there, and it got up in the 70s that time. For like days on end, didn't get down below 60s at night. I mean, just got hot. And it was actually in like, I had killed one in bow season and was going to try it then. And it was a lot hotter than it is now. And in a week and a half, I had killed another deer, and I went down there. I was like, well, I'm going to put these front shoulders in there with that. And when I opened that salt box up, it was worms in there. It was nasty. And I was like, oh, nope, not doing this. So, that has been my struggle. The temperature difference here is a huge factor in preserving meat. And I do know that the old timers here, they always saved their pigs till really over in January is when they would kill a pig and process all the meat. So the next day, if I lose these two front shoulders I just put in there off this buck, I'll probably kill another deer. I've got two smung. We'll get an education out of it, and that's what I'm after anyway. And I have to learn most things from trial and error. It's like primitive fire making. You can watch Dave Canterbury do it all day long and say, oh, I know how he's doing that. And then when you get over here and start trying to do it, you got to do it to learn it. Well, that's how a lot of this stuff is. Hide tanning has been that way. I've watched hundreds of hide tanning videos, and for me, I just can't get everything out of a video. I have to do it to learn it. And I have ruined a bunch of hides. I have been successful with hides, but they wasn't as good as what I wanted. So all of that stuff is how you learn, and this smokehouse has been no different. It's trial and error, and the saltiness of the meat may just be a thing of how it's gonna be here. I would like to get it where it ain't that bad. So we'll see. We'll see if the time frame, how long it's in there, works. I know I watched Woodland Escape. They did one. Townsend has did a salt curing, smoking a ham video, and those principles remain the same. But if I can get the weather to cooperate and it can stay cold for 2 weeks, then yeah, I can probably do it. The first ones that I did, it was actually ice on the ground when I killed a deer, and I took the front shoulders and just hung them up under the shed. For 3 days, they hung out there. In fact, they was froze solid for 2 days, and I think they actually hung for 4 days, really. And they did the best. But, it was ice on the ground at the time I'd done that. Tommy, you ain't right. Lever action 12 gauge shot. I seen a lever action shotgun on some show here not long ago, and it wasn't gun smoke. It was something else. I don't remember what I seen that on. Anyway. Yeah, Thor. It's we live in drastic difference. And that is the thing that people get excited about, like with climate change. You know, and they blame the global warming on this and that and other. And we've just been on a warming cycle since the flood. I mean, the world has been changing all this time, and it's just going to continue to get warmer and warmer and warmer. I think. I don't really, honest to God, I don't think we have caused it. I'm sure we're not helping anything. I mean, I can vouch for that. But and we may be playing a factor. I ain't gonna try to pretend to be a scientist. I mean, it's like me picking on the people with the chemtrails. Weather modification. They have really tried to do all of that, and there's patents on it, and they've done all kinds of stuff. It don't mean it's actually worked. Really, I think they made a mess out of it. But I don't care if it's real. I mean, it don't bother me. If you want to, swear every stream you see in the skies, chemicals, have at it. It don't bother me. And some of it may be, some of it may not be. I don't really care, but I'll pick and laugh about it and see if I can get somebody stirred up over it. Usually, but that the warming cycle is you. I can just look and see things is changing. It's like planting potatoes. My grandpa faithfully said plant potatoes on the dark nights of February. Well, we can't do that. I have to wait until about a month, really dark nights of March to plant my potatoes. Why is that? It's things have changed. I don't know. If you plant them in, a lot of times it rains so much in February into March that if you put them in the ground before it's warm enough for them to sprout, they'll rot in the ground. The last 2 or 3 years, we've had late cold spells that have really hurt our fruit. So, I mean, things are just different. You got to adjust to that. So, I think it's just changing. Alan Walker, I've got all the Foxfire books, and I have read them about it. Have I been duck hunting? No, I have not. I've got duck stamps, and I have not been. We ain't really had no ducks. I heard some boys back here shooting at the duck pond here a couple weeks ago, and they really didn't shoot a whole lot. It got cold, but I don't know. I don't think there was enough water. Now that we're getting some rain, we may start getting some ducks. Now that there's water in the swamp, if it gets really, really cold, I don't know. There's a lot talking about the warming and cooling cycles. I have looked at some of the records, and there's been cold times, there's been warm times. It's hard for me to know because I hadn't really just looked at detail on all that data. But I do know it's what I go by is like what I'm seeing out here, what I do. And when I was a kid, I mean, it used to snow. It never snowed until I was about 7 or 8 years old, and then it snowed like 2 or 3 years in a row. I'm talking about 6 inches of snow on the ground at times. One year I was so mad it snowed way too much for us to pull sleds on a four-wheeler. Because, I mean, we got a dumping snow, and it was so thick that the four-wheeler wouldn't go in it and pull the sled. So, but then here in the last several years, we've had a light snow. It lasted a day and a half. That was it. Brody, it snowed when he was a baby, and he didn't like it. He wouldn't even go out and play in it. But anyway, I would like for it to be cold enough because I like it to be cold enough to deer hunt, keep the flies off, keep the bugs down. If it'll stay cold a good winter, the bugs are not as bad. The mosquitoes don't seem to be as bad. Fire ants ain't as bad. Man, the fire ants, y'all, wrap us up here. I mean, it's like today it rained. Well, you can go out here and walk around tomorrow. There'll be ant beds popped up all over everywhere. I mean, they'll just start coming up out of the ground, just digging in a building. And I mean, it's a never ending battle. You got to constantly walk around with poison and spray it everywhere. And I have tried all kind of different stuff that is organic, to see if it, and ain't nothing cheaper. The best thing you can do is get you some 38 plus, and it's permethrin, and just soak them down with it. I would use gas, but it kills the grass. The 38 plus won't leave big bald spot in the yard. And what I really like doing in the summertime, I hit them with that lawnmower. Boy, man, that dust would just. Brody be riding on the lawnmower. He said, "Daddy, we mean it, them ain'ts." I said, "Yeah, let's back up, hit them again." We got down there to buy blades for the lawnmower, and old fella, he said, them blades ought to last long enough. I said, "Man, I had to buy a new set every year, and I buy the good ones." He said, he said, "You running over ant beds?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, that's your problem." I said, "Man," I said, "when I hit an ant bed," I said, "if I don't get it good enough, I'll back over it." He just dropped his head. He didn't say another word. He was going to scold me on I didn't need to run over the ant beds. And I'm leveling my yard out. I'll use this thing for a box blade. Dishwashing liquid. I don't know if I have tried Dawn or not. I may have. I don't remember. I used something I mixed up. Uncle Sasquatch, I ain't figured out how to get my t-shirts to last that long. I wear a t-shirt out. I mean, around the neck right here, it'll start just, it'll look like two flaps there flopping. Tommy, he's got one or two pretty shirts because I seen him wearing them. They got a big orange logo right in the middle, and one's got a big green logo that says Spirit of the Outdoors. Oh, orange oil and blue dawn. Wesley Hayes said, "What's going on, y'all? We fighting ain'ts right now. We fighting ain'ts. So." Deaver said we got moles. I'd trade ain'ts for moles. I don't know. I just might take you up on that, but I ain't sure. I ain't had to deal with no bunch of moles. I'll tell you what, I got an answer for moles. Yes, sir. Oh, Roxanne, you ought to see the hole she's dug under my chicken pen right down yonder. After them rats in there, we got some rats in yonder about yay long. Tail and all, I guarantee you they're a cubit. Y'all, a cubit's from your elbow to the tips of your fingers. You biblical scholars know this. We got some big old rats down there. And Roxanne, she can't stand it. She's got to fight them. And she'll stay right down there with them and dig them out of there. They done about got smart enough that they don't go outside that chicken pen no more. I tell y'all, and I probably have told this before, but I got a man in the neighborhood. He got him a stick, and he'd get them ant beds, and he'd stab in them holes in them ant beds, and then he'd pour gas in there and light them on fire. Well, one day he was out there, he was at war with them ants. They done got all over his feet and eat him up. He got his stick out there and he was poking holes in them ant beds to pour that gas in. And the mailman drove up and said, "Hey, fellow, so what you doing out there?" He said, "I'm fixing to kill these ants." He said, "Well, you going to be a while like that." He looked up at it. He never said a word. He didn't care about it. Darlena, I use iMovie. I don't do a lot of special effects type stuff. She asked what video editing software I use for videos, and I film most of my stuff with an iPhone. I do have a Hero 8. I have a Nikon D5500. I've got a Nikon Coolpix B500 that does great video. It's not much for audio. So I film deer and things like that I want to. It's a small camera, has a really good zoom on it. And I film with all of them some. So I load it onto my computer, but 90% of what I film with is this iPhone 13. It has really good audio, and the filming is pretty good with it. They say the new iPhone 16 is excellent for filming. Said the zoom is really good on it. But I just use iMovie. It's free. It works. I have used Video Pad Editor. I have used DaVinci Resolve. And I struggled to figure out how to swap my iPhone stuff over to compatibility on there. And it could be done, but I just struggled with it. It was frustrating, and I just give up on it. I used the Video Pad Editor for quite a while right off the bat. And all of a sudden, it bogged down my computer. I got a Mac with a terabyte. And it clogged it up. And what it was doing is it was saving all of the footage. Every time I delete a video out, it was backing it up somewhere in there. And I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to delete it. I tried and tried. I deleted everything it was. Finally, I just deleted the whole program. And it still was on there. I couldn't figure out where it was putting it. So I had to get rid of that. I had to I figured out how to delete everything some way or another. And I just got to using iMovie, and it works for me. And it'll do everything I need to do. Hey, Keith, them Crocs shoes, I used to love Crocs, but I tell you why I quit wearing Crocs. Them things in the front, the way I drag my feet around, them holes, if they'd stop putting them holes right in the front, them things like a drag line. I mean, they just shovel that dirt right on up. Rocks, ants, everything get all in your shoes. Instead, they're trying to shake rocks and stuff out of your shoes. And that's when I swore off of Crocs. David Russian said he had a t-shirt from when Moses parted the Red Sea. That there's got to be a bit frayed on the edges, I bet you. I don't know, Moses, their shoes never wore out, so it might be in tip-top shape. Come on. He didn't say nothing about the t-shirts in the book of Numbers or Exodus. Dazzle DV100. I have never heard of it. But now I can pull up iMovie, and then I can pull up pictures over here, and I can circle everything, click them, drag the whole list of files over there, go up there and find my thumbnail picture that's my intro that I do, drag it over and drop it, grab them all, pull them down in there, highlight the whole thing across the bar, and go up there and hit add cross dissolve. It blends all of them together. I can go up there and with them all highlighted, I can click on the color, and I can adjust the color of all the clips at the same time, because I kind of got a look I go for and the way I like to adjust them. I can adjust every one of them at one time, and then boom, when I start playing, all I got to do is trim clips and cut out the stuff I don't want in there. And that's it. I can literally edit a whole video in about 15 minutes if I ain't got a bunch of... Now, if I use two cameras at the same time, now that gets tricky. Trying to piece and do. I'm trying to really make it pretty. But now just on a basic video, like just in time is one long clip. Man, I can edit just in time videos in less than a minute. Say it ain't so. But I edit as I film too now. In other words, I cut the camera on, I'm at what I'm doing, and I cut the camera off when I'm through, and I set up for the next shot, and but usually I'm turning it on because I'm really doing whatever it is I'm doing, and I'll set the camera up, and I just got to move it to where you can see what I'm doing. It ain't like I'm staging a production, you know, so, you know, I'm doing this, and I got to move the camera around where you can see me, and I'm still doing it, and then I cut it off and go over here and set it over there and turn it back on and back it. That's the way I go about it. Tommy want to know if David's t-shirt was still wet from the Red Sea or has it dried out yet? I thought they walked across there, Tommy, on dry ground. Now, unless he was one of them Philistines. We had one preacher, he didn't say Philistines, he said the Philistines. He might have been right. I didn't argue with him. I just said, praise the Lord, amen. Oh, I'm trying to read through. I don't know what all I have missed. Deaver said I never told him all of that. Hey, there's times that I have sat there, like when I filmed something and used 2 or 3 cameras and I was trying to really, I have spent hours sitting there editing now. But stuff that I'm just trying to film simple videos and get it done, I all that stuff one time. I need to do an editing, but I tell y'all, my desk in there is such a mess, I can't film all that. And I don't know how to screen record on that computer in there. I ain't that good yet. I will say this, my battery's fixing to die on this iPad, and when it does, I'm going to be in the... I tell you what I can do. I'll tell y'all what I do. Let me have... Hey, give me that. Let me have this. See if there's enough fire in it to juice this up. It says a 64% on there. You can't read through that mesh bag, can you? Look. Get down there where they say 64%. So I ought to be able to charge this up. Maybe I can stay with you till... Oh, it's 8:58. We're supposed to be quitting anyway. Oh no, 9 o'clock. We need to shut down at 9, don't we? I know y'all ready to go to bed. I gotta go check on fire in the smokehouse. What I gotta do. Yeah, I'll sew your t-shirt up for you. We'll stitch it right on up. Flintlock season in Pennsylvania, Reed Mitchell says. Oh, I'm wanting to shoot one with my muzzle loader. I've killed one doe with a round ball. I've killed several deer with a muzzle loader, but with these with a round ball, I've only shot one. And fortunate for me, it was at very close range. I have missed a couple. Deaver, I'll tell you what, the problem is when I'm doing something and somebody will ask me about anything, and you can see it in my videos, I'll be trying to tell you something, and I'll liable to say something that don't make no sense, you know, because my mind's on what I'm doing, and I'm talking, and I liable to cause, you know, blue orange or something, you know. I don't even notice it until I'm editing, and then I catch it, and I'm like, what in the world did I say that for? A lot of times I edited it out, but you know, it happens. So that's my problem. I'll be trying to tell somebody everything, and I mean, it just absolutely slips your mind. I have been sitting back and been like, now, how come I didn't tell this person this when I get to thinking about whatever it was? I'll tell you, Gordon, I had a video one time. Let me tell y'all about this video I made one time I deleted. So I was here back several years ago. I was trapping like really hard. Like I had a bunch of coyotes that was coming up back here, and I had plenty of time to fool with them. I didn't have all these projects like this back porch and knife shop and all that going on, you know, and pottery to do. And I was filming trapping. So I had caught several coyotes. It was cold. Caught a couple of bobcats. Well, no, I didn't catch them. I shot the bobcats. I've yet to actually catch a bobcat. But I was skinning this coyote, and it was cold out there, and I got to looking. I mean, they're pretty red meat hanging up, and I said, I wonder if I could eat one. I just curious, you know. You know how curiosity is. So I cut the back straps out of a coat. I cooked them on that wood stove that was in that shed at that time. And it was pretty good. I mean, I sauteed it in a skillet with some oil and some Tony Satcheries, and that's probably where I messed up, because you can put Tony Satcheries on anything and make it fit to eat. And I got to thinking, I said, you know what I'll do? I'll do like Marcel Ledbetter. I know what I'll do. I'll make a video on cooking this coat, you know, because it was pretty good. So here, you know, it rocked on. I think it was actually the next year, or it may have been a month or so later. Anyway, I caught another coyote, skinned it. I said, I'm going to film a video. So I filmed skinning this thing. I filmed cutting the back straps out. I filmed cooking that joker, and I sat down in that shed in there, and it took me a big old bite of that, and I was talking to the camera. Man, that was the awfulest tasting piece of meat I ever put in my mouth. And I said, I can't lie to these folks and tell them this is good. Can't do it. Deleted the whole video. I bet there was an hour's worth of footage. Deleted every bit of it. Ain't gonna happen. And I hadn't attempted to cook no more coyote either. About like that fella around here. My wife's grandpa used to trap years ago, and they didn't know, nobody around here never had no beaver, and they didn't know how to cook it, didn't know what to do with it. And he got brave enough, he was going to cook him a beaver one time. He kept wanting to. He was trapping them. So he cooked one. Said, they asked him, said, Lawrence, said, how was that beaver? He said, oh, it was all right. I don't want no more. Oh, Lord. So I have deleted a few videos. And I have filmed some fishing trips that I didn't catch a thing. Just come home, delete all the footage, go on about it. I have filmed the beginnings of several hunting trips, and I have finally got to where I don't film hunting trips anymore. Like you seen me shoot that deer the other day. When I started filming, I was shooting a deer, you know. Just because too many times I filmed the intro, filmed the trees, filmed the birds, filmed the squirrels, and it get dark, still ain't seen no deer, and you just delete it all and go to the house. Jimmy Sullivan, I like beaver. Beaver is actually good, in my opinion. Beaver's good. The last coon I cooked out here, the way I boiled it and all that, that was good. I don't have no problem eating coon, beaver, what else? A bobcat is good. I cut the back straps out of a bobcat. The bobcat was actually really delicious. Real white meat. I have no problem eating that. But I ain't gonna eat no more coyotes, and I ain't eating no possum unless things get really, 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 really bad. If I get hungry, y'all, I'll skin a possum and eat it. But you'll know old boy done got hungry. I won't be fat like I am now. Well, I see Brody is back home. I hadn't ate fox. Oh, and I hadn't ate skunk. I seen y'all's boy old Canterbury up there one day. They cooked a skunk and talked about how wonderful it was. And I said, well, y'all eat that yourselves. I'm gonna go get me a hamburger, I believe. Hard shell possum, I have not. Now, I seen our boy, old Longbow Banjo. You know, he tunes in occasionally, chimes in. And I seen him peel out armadillo shell. And I reckon I know some of these Mexicans I worked with him, they shot one, cleaned it, and ate it. I had never ate one. It's not on my to-do list. But like I said, if I get hungry enough, I won't be culling and be so choosy then. But right now, while I'm fat and got 3 deer in the freezer and some canned and a sack full of deer jerky and there's pie left over and cat head biscuits to be made, probably not gonna eat no possum or no armadillo or no another coyote. Ohio Bigfoot researchers. That sounds professional. Local Life Outdoors, how are you, ma'am? I seen one of your videos popped up the other day. You still catching bluegill. Man, I'm about ready to go fishing. I ain't gonna lie. I miss fishing. I told my wife the other day, I said, I've been hunting an awful lot. And I said, you know what I wonder? She looked at me real serious. Said, what? I said, I wonder if a fish is missing me. It was just a thought that come to mind. I said, they got to be missing me by now. I hadn't even been down there to that duck pond and aggravate them crappie. I went there, it was still too warm. The last time I was down there, them lily pads, you couldn't fish and they wouldn't bite. And, I bet now they'd probably bite. That old Honda ain't even been down there. We might have to check on that next week one day. Because I got a bucket of lard over there that I'd like to put some crappie fillets in. Yeah. I tell y'all this, I got a lithium battery from Power Queen. Sent me the battery and the charger. They are a USA company. Some of y'all will be so proud of me. It's a USA company. They sent me a trolling motor battery for the War Eagle. We're going to put that joker in there and tune it up, and we're going to have to put the War Eagle on the lake. I got to order me a prop. Y'all seen that chunk I knocked out of that prop? I think, though, we can go fish. I may go up there and put it in my neighbor's pond. He's got some crappie in there, and it'll be close. We'll go up there and put it in, see if the Honda will pull that War Eagle out of that pond. Thor, I 100% agree with you because I like oysters. I like raw oysters. But now I ate the first raw oyster because everybody around me was saying, man, these is good. And they was pouring hot sauce on them and eating them. And I said, well, if they'll eat it, I'll eat it. And I eat one. I was like, oh, yeah, that's all right. I like it. Yeah. But, yeah. If I'd have cracked one open and looked in there, my first thought wouldn't have been, let me see what that tastes like. No, I'm afraid you own to something there, Thor. Uncle Sasquatch at Ohio Bigfoot Researchers is here to get you. I guarantee you that's why he's here. Yeah. I just put all that together. You better hide, Uncle Sasquatch. They're here to get you. Yeah, Tommy, them crawfish, they was talking about $150, $200 a sack this year. I didn't partake. I went to one cooking that somebody else funded and ate a few, but I didn't buy none. I got some boudin in here from Jack's down at my cousin brought me some boudin. I was gonna cook it out here, and I forgot about it. Actually, it's in there in the freezer, refrigerator. I don't know where I put it, but my cousin Tracy, they got a store down there. They sell it in and cook it in Denham Springs. And she brought me the other day, Christmas, they come up here, she come got some pottery from us, and she brought me some boudin, some real boudin. And I got to get in there and cook that sometime. I'll be fooling around, let it run. I think I put it in the freezer, though, because I knew we had all this going on and didn't have time to cook it. I had to check on that. Well, Ohio Bigfoot researchers, have y'all caught one yet? He said, yeah, I looked for Bigfoot, the biggest thing in the woods. Well, Uncle Sasquatch is up there. He's in Tennessee somewhere, and he looks a lot like him. Brody's come out here looking for Bigfoot one day. When we went to the mountains, he finally found one. In fact, I got a video where Brody found a Bigfoot up there in the mountains. But now, granted, he done turned to stone. He must have looked back at Sodom and Gomorrah when he was running off, because he done turned to stone. But Brody took his picture with him. But that probably wasn't the only one. Crayfish is too much work, not enough reward. John, you probably wasn't sucking the head hard enough. You got to suck it hard enough that the eyeballs sink in. That's where the good stuff's at. Oh, Lord. I tell y'all what ain't good, and that's them mussels. Y'all ever tried to cook some of these mussels? See, up here in the Pearl River Swamp, we don't have oysters. We got them little sharp things called mussels. So we was canoeing one time, and we found a bunch of them things. And we got to swan diving out there in that sand and digging them up. And, man, well, it wasn't long. We had a pot full of them, you know. So we tried boiling some. We was canoeing, and there was about 4 or 5 of us. And we had a little old boiler we took with us to cook, you know. And we boiled some, and it was about like eating the tongue out of your shoes. So we laid some over the fire and steamed them, and it was about like eating the tongue out of your shoe. We never did figure out how to make them things good. And I hear people pay big money to eat them somewhere. I guess I didn't know what I was doing. I still got some shrimp in here. We ain't got many left. We put a hurting on the shrimp. Pork Chop come up here and brought me a bunch of shrimp. And the ones we've cooked now, they've been forevermore good. Case Knives is selling a Sasquatch skinner. Well, I'll have to pull this knife up and look at it just to see what it looks like. Feral people know Deaver Vision. I watched one. What was the name of them folks? That family up there in the mountains. What was that fella's name? There's a family up there in the mountains that they ain't hardly had no dealings with people. This fella went up there and interviewed them, and in this one hand, he'd bark at you like a dog. Every time they'd ask him a question, I mean, he sounded like a little old dog barking at them. What was their names? I'll have to, if my wife could see out here, she'd know. We got to watching them. What was that family's name? There's a whole, I like to say a litter of them. It may have been. It was a whole family of them. I don't know if they were feral. They had a house and all. The Whitakers, Deaver, that's it. It's the Whitakers. You done seen that too, hadn't you? My wife showed me that picture, and you know, and them folks really like that, or they putting on. I ain't watched no lot about it. But they said, from what I understand, that fella said he had to defend them. There was people trying to take advantage of them. So they got a house, so somebody had to have built them a house. Are they smart enough to build a house I mean, it wasn't no clean, nice house, but it was a house. Or maybe they found one, they just moved it. I don't know. Y'all ain't never seen the Whitakers. You owe it to yourself to pull it up and look at it one time. It amazed me. I ain't kidding. And I mean, I ain't just making fun of them. It was kind of funny, but you know, I didn't realize there was people really like that. You know, you need to check it out. If you ain't pulled up and watched the yeah, Larry Alexander, it's on YouTube. It's the Whitakers. Pull it up. Community Chaplain Davis, it is not raining. We kept getting tornado warnings near Mobile Bay. I hadn't pulled a radar up recently, but it is not raining here. It is misty and wet, and they may be moisture showing up on radar, but as far as it like raining, it is not. Keith Bingham said, "I think their family tree is a 2x4." I think so. I do think you're right. I'm trying to be careful what I say, because y'all, honest to God, I don't want to make fun of them. I thank God that I wasn't raised that way, wasn't born like that, and in that kind of family. I mean, really, honestly. But when they showed it to me, it kind of shocked me. I was like, these people's real. I mean, y'all, I ain't kidding. I ain't being funny. This fella barked like a dog. When they'd ask him a question, I couldn't. It took me forever to figure out what he was saying. Now, after I listened to it several times, I could kind of understand what he was trying to say, but he was literally barking like a dog. I mean, really. Yeah, Jeff, I very much, if I had to guess that they was inbred, I'd guess that they was. And I'm going to tell you why you're on the subject. A lot of people holler, oh, pit bulls is bad dogs. They'll turn on you. They'll do this. I'm going to tell you about pit bulls. I raised them for a while. When you got people, when they use pit bulls for fighting, pit bull is one of the only dogs that they say they got this bloodline and that bloodline and this bloodline of pit bulls. And it's a family where they line breed them dogs. Well, you can breed a mama to a son or a daddy to a daughter a time or two. You can do that. Like, you can breed a daughter and get a puppy and then breed back to that. But after that, you got to quit. You can't keep doing that. You as pure as you need to be then. They do that with chickens. You see it do it with chickens. And when these people buy these dogs that have been bred too many times like that, then all of a sudden one day this dog turns and attacks a family member, attacks a kiddo, it's because this dog's mind is a lot like these people that you're seeing that's been inbred. And it's a lovable dog till all of a sudden something snaps in it, something triggers it. And that's why people say pit bulls, they'll turn on you. Well, them it's bred like that will. That is the deal with pit bulls. You find one that has been bred by other blood and not been trying to be like a purebred, you're better off. And that's what these people, they just, I don't know how to say it nicely, but it's, it's a scary thing. Nikki, where y'all been hiding? I ain't seen y'all. Hey, Nikki, JR messed up the other day and told me about them chitlins, that y'all had them chitlins marked down to about $11 a bucket, $12, I think. There's 2 buckets in my freezer, so we're going to have a chitlin cooking now for long. And it's nice and warm. Probably next week be a good time. When y'all get ready to have a chitlin cooking, just holler at me. We'll make it happen. Uncle Sasquatch Mama said they didn't say nothing until I was 8. Lord, hell, Uncle Sasquatch. Oh, Lord. Uncle Sasquatch, how come you couldn't talk to you as 18 months old? Just didn't have nothing to say? I couldn't talk till I was about, I don't know, a year or two. Darlena, where's McInerney County, folks? Oh Lord, I don't know where that's at. Didn't figure Uncle Sasquatch said didn't figure nobody'd listen anyway. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Brody. He didn't he he didn't talk, but he come out screaming and hollering and carrying on. And when he finally got to talking, he ain't shut up since. I don't know if I was like at Selmer, Tennessee. I have been through Selmer, Tennessee. In fact, we sold pottery to Selmer, Tennessee. Yeah. Mark Meltzer, I know you did. Oh, I didn't say it. I'm going to read it. I did. Martin said it. He said, I understand that the show CSI West Virginia had to be canceled. All the DNA was the same. I didn't say it. Y'all don't get mad at me. I just read it. Oh, but I couldn't pass it up. Just north of Corinth. Yeah. Oh, me. Y'all come up with some stuff on here. Y'all tickle me sometimes. Now, y'all gonna get me in trouble. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell y'all something right here, though. I have traveled all over the southeastern part of the United States in the last couple of years, delivering pottery and whatnot. And you find the same kind of folks in the back roads of all these little old counties and towns. And you wonder what, most of it, I think they done to themselves. I pulled up today to pump gas in my old truck, and no, I done got gas. I pulled up to get some ice and a drink. Put in my cooler. I keep a cooler of drinks in the back of my truck just to carry the deer stand with me or whatnot while I'm hunting and living out of my truck. Got some snacks stashed in there. So I went to get a bag of, and I walked by the gas pump, and there's this old boy over there pumping gas. His hair was as pink as you ever saw. It was a stick in every direction. He had his pajamas on. Uh, and I think he had two different colored socks in his house shoes, and he wouldn't. These folks done this smoking that starting fluid and lithium batteries pretty regular. I think's what done it to most of them. I don't think this is all like we inbred and got this way naturally, because they used to not be as many of them. A lot of these old timers out here in the swamps and rural areas was pretty sharp, knew how to do things. Now what I'm seeing, I don't know what happened to them. Like I said, I think it's some of the stuff they partaking in their extracurricular activities has had a lasting effect on their mental capacity, and they lack the capacity for abstract thought. Ain't that what Leverett told him in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He said it should be the one that has the capacity for abstract thought. Yeah. So, well, no, Tommy, I guess I did assume his genders, And I ain't sure right now which one he was. And I wasn't finna Crocodile Dundee check him either, because my I really didn't care. I wasn't interested either way. And you know, I ain't got a problem with people having different color hair. You can dye it whatever you want to, but his wasn't a good look on him at all. You know, some folks can dye the hair, you know, bright blue or purple or pink or whatever, and it looks good on them. This fella, his did not. So you know, don't get me all in everybody, man. Some of y'all dye your hair and it looks all right. You know, oh, we're gonna get in trouble tonight. I can see it already. They're gonna this thing's gonna go slam off, and they're gonna say you being offensive. I can't make no money off of my Facebook page anymore because they said it was tragedy and conflict. And you know, I told them, I was like, well, I've rode around these roads and I've seen some pretty tragic stuff, and it wasn't on my page. But you know, mine's Jeff. My hair ain't gray yet. It's getting that salt and pepper look, but it's got more pepper than it's got salt. Mine's still thick, yo. Well, them pajamas Philip, them pajamas really hurt his efforts to impress somebody with his hair color. And I felt like he dyed that hair pink, thinking that it was going to improve his looks. But a bath would have went a long way, I believe. And you know what I thought about when I seen him? I thought about that First Blood Rambo movie when they had him in there, you know, up against the wall, and that fella said, "Get him behind the ears," and he had that hose and showered down on him good. That's what this fella needed. Yeah. He needed to have been took up there where First Blood was filmed. Let that old sheriff have at him. Growing your hair out, Deaver. Smokey. Yes, sir. We'll see you next time. Tennessee Smokey, thank you for tuning in tonight. We doing some good, clean picking and fun on some probably somebody gonna take it wrong. We better call it all of us a good night and go on to bed while we steal money ahead. For we really hurt somebody's feelings. Oh, I gotta go check on my smokehouse. I'm sure the fire's out. Probably gotta build another fire by now. So anyway, oh, Missy, did you ever try your pickled sausage you made? Man, I put that jar the other night in there to be washed. I didn't eat every one of them things. I'll tell y'all this. They did not turn out as hot as I wanted. I will be doing another batch, but I have got to come up with a way to make them a little more spicy for me. I'm seriously thinking about boiling them in about a half a bottle of crab boil. I can't see where I'd go wrong. I think I'm going to try. I think that's what I'll do. I'll be like old Marcel Ledbetter. I know what I'll do. Them wasn't hot enough. So we'll put that cayenne pepper or something in there. But yeah, I have done eat all of them. They were actually good. Just wasn't as spicy as I wanted. Randall Hayes said, "What did I miss? Start from the beginning." You'll have to go back rewatch. We fixing to turn the show off, and we're gonna save some entertainment for next time. We don't want to use up all our good stuff tonight. But we done been long enough. Folks has got to go to bed. We're gonna have to cut this off so y'all can take a nap for time to get up and go work, deer hunt, and all that. 4:30 comes early in the morning for us deer hunters. So, anyway, y'all, I have enjoyed it, y'all. I really have. We've had a good time. Thank all of you. Can I give a shout out to Doug? David, give you a shout out to Doug. David wants to give a shout out to Doug. You give us plenty of good entertainment, Doug. We really appreciate it. Even though you can't talk to us no more, you can watch. Oh, thank y'all for watching. I have had a good night, good time, and I always enjoy these because, honest to God, y'all, it gives me a chance just to sit back and chit chat, carry on, talk about whatever. And y'all, if we offended anybody, it was all in good, clean fun. We ain't mad at nobody. I don't care what color your hair is. I don't care if you do live in West Virginia or wherever. We still love you all the same. I, honest to God, do. And even that old boy I saw at the gas pump, he needed the Holy Ghost, something terrible. And I probably should have just laid hands on him and went to praying for him right there. But I was afraid he wouldn't take too kindly to it, so I didn't. But seriously, thank y'all for joining in, sitting here listening to me ramble on. I really enjoyed doing these videos. And we'll see you next time. I'm going to do a little deer hunting tomorrow. May have to film just in time inside somewhere if it's 2 or 5. So y'all keep us in your prayers as these storms come through. We'll keep y'all in our prayers as well, and we'll see you next time. Remember, the best way to do things, the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.